If you're like me and you like to use a laptop as one of your main computers at your desk, then you're going to need a USB or preferably a Thunderbolt USB dock. And unfortunately, a lot of those can either be really expensive or just kind of crappy. But I think I may have just found the perfect bang for your buck budget Thunderbolt 4 dock. Let's talk about it. What's up, my dude? Your friendly neighborhood Tony here, and welcome to the Spare Tech Room, where I try to use the power of hyperfixation to hopefully help you make better tech choices. Before we get started, I do want to let you know I'm just a random dude, just some nerd on the internet. No one is paying me to make this video. No one asked me to make this video. Nobody probably cares that I'm making this video. I bought all this stuff with my own money, and this is all just my personal opinion. Cool? Cool. Now, if you're using something like the MacBook Air that I have here, or any number of different Windows laptops, chances are they're not going to have all the different ports and plugs that you might need, especially if you're using a MacBook Air. Thanks a lot, Apple. Whether it's to hook up multiple monitors, mice, keyboards, webcams, external hard drives, it's a lot. Fortunately, there are tons of little hubs and docks that you can buy online to go from one USB port to a bunch of the different connections you might need. Kind of like this cheap hub that I have here. Now, this isn't the thing I'm going to be recommending today, but if you're looking for something inexpensive and moderately effective, it's not bad. I mean, these have multiple USB ports, an HDMI out, an SD card port, and it runs power through it. And you can get some good ones for less than 20 bucks. I'll link to one in the description box below that I definitely recommend. But if you can get something decent for less than 20 bucks, why am I recommending something else? Well, if you have one of the newer MacBooks or one of the more recent Windows laptops, then you're going to have something a lot better than just a regular old USB-C. At that point, you're probably working with what's called Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4. And with that much speed and power, well, you're going to want something that's capable of using it. With a Thunderbolt 4 dock, you're able to connect multiple 4K monitors, super high-speed hard drives, 4K webcams, or even mirrorless cameras like the one you're looking at me through right now, as well as some high-quality mics like this. And it's all through one cable. But here's the problem. For a top-of-the-line Thunderbolt 4 dock, you're looking at anywhere up to 450 bucks for something like the CalDigit TS4, which is basically the industry standard. But what if I told you that you could get just about the exact same functionality for something that's, I don't know, a quarter of the price? Well, let me introduce you to the Kensington SD5700T. Yeah, I know the name's not that great, but what's in a name? Shout out to Shakespeare. All right, let me go ahead and show you around this thing, and then I'll explain to you how I was able to get this for around 100 bucks. The first thing you might recognize is the name Kensington. Now, this isn't some no-name random Chinese knockoff brand. Kensington, the company's been around for, I don't know, forever, and they make PC parts and accessories, so you can breathe a little bit easier knowing that you're getting something of decent quality. And on this particular dock, you're getting 11 different ports to connect just about anything. Right up front, you've got your Thunderbolt 4 host port. This is where you'd plug in your laptop. Now, this thing also feeds 90 watts of power through it, so you won't need to charge your laptop through a separate cable or anything like that. You've also got a full-size SD card slot, which is awesome for content creators like me. I can drop my photos and videos right off the SD card from my camera into my computer. There's also a USB-A port here that delivers some juice if you want to charge something separate, like a smartphone or a battery pack or whatever. There's an audio combo jack that you can plug headphones or a full-on headset with a microphone into. And you've also got a couple of LEDs over here to indicate if you've got power coming through to the dock, as well as to let you know when your laptop is correctly connected to it. And lastly, you've got a separate power button so you can turn this thing on or off independently of your computer. I don't really use that too much, but you know, it's there if you need it. All right, now let's go ahead and go around back here, and you'll see that you've got 3 separate USB type A ports. Now these are USB-A Gen 2, which can transmit 10 gigabits per second, which is basically all you'll ever need for most hard drives, or really any random USB device, a mouse, a keyboard, what have you. There's a gigabit Ethernet port, which is massive if you're currently using the Wi-Fi in your house. Just a pro tip, always hardline in if you have that option. It makes a world of difference. There are 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports on the back, and these can be used for, I mean, just about anything. 4K monitors, super fast storage. I feel like I use it for both of those things, as well as my video and audio capture device. I personally use the Rode Streamer X, which I absolutely love. Let me know if you want me to do a full review of that, but if you're looking for something to connect both a camera and microphone to, it's phenomenal. Thunderbolt 4 is basically magic. Last up on the back of this thing, you just have an old barrel power connector, which is rated for 20 volts, so that's gonna juice everything that you have connected to this thing. This Kensington dock has just about everything everything that something like the CalDigit TS4 has. Again, for a quarter of the price. Now, if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you may have noticed one thing that's missing from the back of this. An HDMI port, of course. What if your monitor doesn't have the ability to connect via Thunderbolt? Well, don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you hanging like that. There's also the Kensington, wait for it, SD5780T. Kensington really needs to work on these names. Hit me up, Kensington. I got some ideas for you. Either way, that particular model swaps out one of the Thunderbolt 4 ports for an HDMI. So if you need that, you've got that option. Now I'm gonna go ahead and link to both docks in the description box below. And when you click on that, you might notice that the price is a little bit higher than what I said. I think right now the 5700 is going for around 180 and the 5780 is going for about 160 brand new. But I've got a little magic trick for you, and it's called buying used. Now hear me out, Amazon has some awesome refurbished items and a great return policy on anything that you buy that's refurbished. I think for most things you can return it within 90 days. And from what I just saw before I hit record on this video, they're currently going for around $104 at the cheapest. So check those links out below and give one of them a shot. I absolutely love mine, and I'm telling you, I cannot recommend it enough. Oh, and one more pro tip before I get out of here. I can't tell you how many people that I've heard of saying that their Thunderbolt 4 dock isn't working, not just for this particular model, but for any in general. And 9 times out of 10, it's because they're using the wrong cable. It's pretty simple. If you're using a Thunderbolt dock, then you're gonna wanna use a Thunderbolt cable. You're gonna have to trust me on this one. I used to work for a tech retailer that will remain nameless, but they would always have us tell the customer that the best HDMI for them to buy would be one of these super expensive gold-plated $100 and something HDMI cables. And this is during the time of 720p TVs. So you definitely didn't need anything like that. But when it comes to data transfer speeds, and specifically with Thunderbolt, if you're trying to get the best out of your Thunderbolt dock, you're going to need a Thunderbolt cable. Now, of course, as with everything when it comes to tech, there are going to be expensive Thunderbolt cables and less expensive Thunderbolt cables. So I'm going to go ahead and link to the ones that I use personally. These have not failed me at all. I've had no problems with them, and they're a pretty good deal. So I'll drop that link in the description box as well for you. Let me know if you have any questions at all in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time in the Spare Tech Room.